Weeks passed, and the silence stayed. No more messages, no more attempts to fix what she had broken. She must have realized there was nothing left to salvage. I didn't track what she did after. I didn't care where she went or if she stayed with him. Her life was her own now, and I wanted no part in it. The paperwork processed smoothly. The house sold quickly. We split everything just like we agreed. Clean, clinical, without conflict. The same woman who once swore we'd grow old together now signed her name next to mine under irreconcilable differences. A phrase so neat for something so violent. I packed my things one box at a time. I didn't rush it. Every drawer I opened reminded me how many pieces of my life had been shared with someone who no longer existed in the way I remembered. Her clothes were already gone. Her scent, too. The echoes of our laughter had faded. It was just walls now. People started asking questions. Friends, coworkers, family. I told them the truth. In short versions. Nothing dramatic. No long speeches. Just the facts. She cheated. It's over. No, we're not talking. Yes, I'm fine. Most people were shocked. She had fooled more than just me. Mark stayed close during the transition. He never said, "I told you so." That's why I respected him more than ever. He never made it about him. He just made sure I wasn't going through it alone. That mattered. One night, I sat down and deleted all our old photos from my phone. Not out of anger, just necessity. I didn't want to carry around reminders of a lie disguised as love. Memories only have value when they're built on truth. The rest are just distractions. I started going to the gym again, not to get back out there or prove anything, just to feel strong in my body again. I changed my routine, woke up early, cooked for myself, little things. But each one reminded me that I was building something new. Something mine. I thought about dating, but not seriously. I wasn't rushing into anything. I wasn't. She didn't stop texting for the next 2 days. At first, it was confusion, then denial, then anger, then regret. The order didn't surprise me. I ignored every message. I didn't respond to her voicemail. I didn't need her to explain, justify, or beg. She had shown me who she was. I believed her now. By Monday, she showed up at the house. She still had her key. I let her in. Watched her walk through the door like she expected this to be a conversation. She looked like she hadn't slept, still dressed like someone trying to perform remorse. But none of that moved me anymore. She asked why I didn't talk to her first, why I didn't let her explain. She wanted a chance to say it wasn't what it looked like. I asked her what exactly she thought I'd seen. She paused, couldn't answer. I placed the photos on the table without a word. Her expression broke. Not tears, just silence. She sat down, hands shaking slightly, eyes glued to the table. For once, she had nothing rehearsed, no lie prepared. The man she risked everything for wasn't with her now. She was alone in it. She asked if we could go to therapy, if we could try. That word, try, sounded like an insult. Try after months of lying. Try after years of building a second life behind my back. I told her therapy doesn't rebuild what you willingly destroy, especially not for someone else. She said it was a mistake, that it started during a rough patch, that he understood her. The cliche burned in my ears. The man who understood her didn't have to sacrifice anything for her. I did, and she discarded it without hesitation. She tried shifting blame, said I had grown distant, said I worked too much, that I wasn't present. I told her she could have spoken to me, like adults do in real relationships. Instead, she made a choice every day to lie and keep lying. That wasn't an accident. That was a pattern. She cried, finally. Real tears, maybe. I didn't care. I told her the divorce papers were final. Everything was filed. The papers were ready by Thursday. Neatly stapled, perfectly worded, legally airtight. I sat with them in front of me for a long time. 10 years of marriage reduced to a few pages. I didn't feel anger anymore. I felt calm. Cold, maybe, but steady. There was no more guessing, no more hoping. Just action. I booked a room at the same hotel, same floor, 2 doors down. I requested it intentionally, using a different name. I didn't want to risk her seeing my name anywhere. I told the front desk I needed privacy and no disturbances. They didn't ask questions. I checked in Friday afternoon, early, hours before she'd arrive. I turned off my phone. I didn't want messages. No distractions. I had one goal, one moment I was waiting for. I sat in that quiet room, going over every detail one last time. Everything was packed. The envelope with the papers, the photos, the printed email confirmation. Everything she would need to understand that this was not a conversation. It was closure. Mark called once. I answered. He didn't say much, just that he was nearby, waiting. I thanked him and hung up. This wasn't about anyone else. This was between me and the truth I had carried alone for too long. I didn't pace. I didn't rehearse lines in my head. I wasn't there for drama. I had done my grieving in silence already. This was just the delivery of consequences. She had made her choices freely. Now, she would face mine. Time moved slowly. Every sound in the hallway made me look up. When I finally heard her voice outside, laughing faintly, the final piece clicked into place. I recognized the man's voice too. Smooth, practiced, like someone who'd been here before. Like someone who thought this would go on forever. She didn't even knock when they entered their room. She had a key ready. That told me this wasn't the first time. She was comfortable here. She belonged here more than she did at home. I waited 10 minutes. No rush. I wanted them settled. I opened the envelope again. Checked. I didn't sleep that night. I kept refreshing the hotel's website, memorizing the layout, checking reviews, looking for any small detail that might help. The reservation was under her name, which meant she wasn't even trying that hard to hide it. That told me everything I needed to know. She thought I was too trusting, too naive to look. She was almost right. Saturday morning, I drove past the hotel just once. I didn't go in. I just wanted to see it with my own eyes. The parking lot was half full. Her car wasn't there yet. I drove back home and started planning the next step. I wasn't going to confront her with feelings. I needed proof, something undeniable, something she couldn't twist. I asked Mark to help. He hesitated at first, but agreed. He said if I was sure, he'd stand by me. That meant more than I could say. We talked about options, whether I should confront her at the hotel or wait until she got home. But if I waited, she'd lie again. She'd spin some story about a coworker, an emergency, anything. She was good at that now. I had to catch her where there was no room for stories. I started with her phone records. We shared a family plan. She didn't realize I still had access to the account. I logged in and looked. Same unknown number. Over and over. Usually at night. Long calls. Sometimes over an hour. I saved the number. Didn't recognize it. Searched it. No business listing. Just a generic mobile line. Then I checked her calendar. She used to sync everything on our shared Google account. Not anymore. It was blank. Too clean. That's when I knew it was real. She wasn't just lying by omission. She was covering tracks. Intentionally. Carefully. That level of effort isn't for a harmless fling. It's for something deeper, someone she's invested in. I thought about hiring a private investigator. Mark had a contact, someone discreet. I wasn't sure at first, but the moment I thought about walking into that hotel alone and not knowing what I might find, I made the CA. I always believed that trust was the strongest pillar of a relationship. For 10 years, I never questioned Emily, not once. We were high school sweethearts. The kind of couple people thought would make it to the end. We built a home together, talked about kids, shared dreams. I genuinely believed we were happy. At least I was. It started small. She began guarding her phone like it held national secrets. Always on silent. Always face down. I noticed, but I didn't want to be that husband, the paranoid type. I convinced myself she was just stressed with work, overwhelmed. People go through phases, right? But then came the late meetings, the overnight conferences. I wanted to believe her. I did believe her for a while. Then one night, she came home past midnight. Hair perfect, makeup fresh, not a trace of exhaustion. I asked how the conference went, and she mumbled something about spreadsheets. She never mentioned spreadsheets before. I laughed it off at the time, but it stuck with me. A few days later, I saw her texting at 2 a.m., smiling at her screen. I walked into the room, and she instantly locked her phone and pretended to be checking email. That look, half guilt, half fear, it hit me like a punch. That night, I barely slept. Something inside me shifted. Still, I didn't want to accuse her blindly. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was nothing. I kept watching quietly. She changed her password, started leaving the room to take calls. When I asked about it, she said she was dealing with private client information. She's a marketing consultant, not a lawyer. I didn't press. I share my doubts with my best friend Mark. He didn't say much at first, just listened. But a week later, he sat me down and said, "Look, man, I know you love her, but something's not right. You got to protect yourself." That hit hard. Hearing someone else say it made it real. Then, I made a mistake, or maybe it was fate. Emily had left her iPad on the kitchen counter. I never touched her stuff.